one of the things that we have found, from our work with a lot of different companies is that, employees' ages really matter in terms of what they are interested in. So if you're in your 20s, for example, the number one thing that employees value is actually leave benefits. The second thing for people in their 20s are flexible working arrangements. And then the third thing is flexible benefits. So a pool of money that, they can use either on their gym memberships, they can use on their holidays. And they are maybe not so interested at all in health and medical benefits, because when you're in your 20s, as I am, you think you're invincible and you're not going to get COVID, or even if you get COVID, it's going to be fine. Right, but then, maybe you sober up slightly when you're in your 30s and 40s, and you become a bit more interested in things like health and medical benefits, risk insurance for your finances, because you might now need to support a family. And then you are still interested in these benefits because, you want to have a good work-life balance. And then what we find is that for employees who are above their 50s, of course, they are interested in the retirement benefits that they have. Right, and certain things like, for example, health and medical benefits can be very expensive, especially if you're using, a regional plan for all your employees. Why not give them the option to have, for the same cost, you can be giving your employees in their 20s flexible benefits, which they are much more likely to use and going to be much happier about. And so the second important thing to do is actually to kind of look within your organization how important a benefit is versus the satisfaction that your employees get from these different items. And this is just an illustration, but potentially you can reduce spending in areas where satisfaction is high but importance is low, in order to now have a pool of money that you can again put back either into your employees' bonuses or back into their base salaries.
We regularly advise to our clients is maybe why don't you implement what we call employee stock option plans. So this, of course, will be more, I think, we can say suitable to executive or senior employees, because if you grant, stock options to all your staff, it might be, first there might be a dilution of capital, and it might be maybe difficult to implement, but just on the nature of what we call an employee stock option plan. So an employee stock option plan is an option that is granted to an employee for purchasing the company's share at a future date upon completion of certain vesting conditions, and either as a predetermined price or at a price to be determined upon vesting. So in general, the vesting conditions are either performance-based or time-based. And upon fulfilling of the vesting conditions, the employee stock option plan vests to the employee, meaning that the employee gets an unconditional right to purchase the shares. So in this specific situation, the employee will actually buy or purchase the shares. But you may also decide to grant free shares, and this will be in particular in replacement of the discretionary bonus, if you are not in a position to pay the discretionary bonus for a said year, or also in lieu of a performance of either the discretionary bonus or the performance bonus. Of course, in the last case, you need to draft and to make an agreement with the employee in which the employee expressly agree on such replacement, and this will be to avoid the situation where the employee resigns or his or her employment is terminated, and then the employee files a claim before the labor court saying that I didn't get payment of my bonus, so I want to receive payment now. So yeah, indeed, this is an interesting tool, but it needs to be properly documented. Another option, so next slide, please. Thank you. So another very interesting option that we regularly advise is issuing what we call shadow shares. So again, shadow shares might be granted to employees in exchange for the acceptance of restructuring arrangements or change in performance metrics or reduction of working time or salary. And a shadow share arrangement is different than a standard stock option plan, because with a shadow share agreement, the employee will get a deferred cash payment. So the shadow share agreement is a deferred compensation arrangement that gives the employees the right to receive a cash payment at a future date, which is again linked to a liquidity event that can be performance or time-based. But in the case of a shadow share agreement, there is no equity ownership that pass to the employee. The employee only gets virtual shares. So for companies who are maybe afraid of, having a share capital dilution, then it might be probably more appropriate. And also, the employee will get only cash payment. And finally, the shadow share agreement has the benefit of the flexibility, since the terms may be freely determined by the parties.